Hello, dear students, and welcome back to the social science classes. As we were learning the fifth chapter of history, the revolt of 1857, in today's session, I will provide you the rest of the topics. But before starting the rest of the topics, let's revise a bit what we have learned in the previous session. So, students, we have learned about what was the revolt of 1857 and what were its causes. Okay, we have seen about various causes of the revolt of 1857, like we have seen political causes, what were the social causes, the military causes, the economical causes. Okay, all that we have seen, and we have also learned about the immediate cause. Okay, but there was an immediate cause that sparked the revolt in the form of Sepoy Mutiny. As we have learned in the previous part, that the revolt of 1857 is also known as Sepoy Mutiny because it started with the mutiny of the Sepoy by the disagreement or disobeyment of the Sepoys to their British officials. Okay, we have learned about that what was the immediate cause? The immediate cause was the introduction of the new rifle and the greased cartridges in the army. Basically, we have learned that those cartridges were greased by the fat of cow and pig, and before loading the rifle, the sepoys had to bite the top with their mouth, which was against their religious beliefs or sentiments. Now, students, this rumor only sparked off fire of discontent among the Indian soldiers against the British. The first sign of this revolt was seen or was shown at Barakpur in Bengal, where a sepoy named Mangal Pandey, basically what he did, Mangal Pandey refused to use the rifle and attacked his officials only on 29th March 1857. We have seen that his officials, but unfortunately, Mangal Pandey was executed and his officials hanged him to death. All those we have seen, again the revolt spread more, and in Meerut, 85 soldiers of the 3rd Cavalry refused to obey the British officers. This was also a sepoy mutiny, and in that, those 85 soldiers were dismissed from their service and sentenced to 10 years in jail. Okay, now the revolt is spread more, and again in Meerut on 10th May 1857, the Sepoy mutiny started, and there also the Indian sepoys killed some British officers and even released imprisoned comrades. That means their imprisoned partners, they released them from the jail. Not only this, the Indian sepoys also captured guns and ammunition and even set fire to the buildings and properties of the British. All these were the incidents that were taking place in Meerut. As I have explained you that the first place from where this revolt started, that was Meerut only. Now let's see what we are going to cover in this or today. Basically, we are going to cover the spread of the revolt. We will see the major centers of the revolt, suppression of the revolt. We will see how the Britishers suppressed the revolt of 1857. Failure of the revolt. Yes, in the previous part only I have explained you that the revolt of 1857 was unsuccessful one. So we will see that how the revolt of 1857 failed, and we will also see the reasons for the failure of the revolt. Okay, we will see that such a remarkable revolt in the history, how it failed to achieve its objectives, and we will see the result of the revolt. Britishers introduced many changes after this revolt of 1857, okay, for ruling in India. That all we are going to see today. So let's start. Firstly, we will see that after the incidents of the Meerut, the Indian sepoys of Meerut rode all night of 10th May to reach Delhi in the early morning, and after they reached Delhi, they were totally willing, or they were willing to meet the Mughal emperor, the then Mughal emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar. They were willing to meet Bahadur Shah Zafar, and anyhow they talked to him and persisted him for becoming the leader of the revolt of 1857. And from there only, when Bahadur Shah agreed to this, they proclaimed Bahadur Shah Zafar as the ruler of India and the leader of the revolt of 1857. And from here only, the Bahadur Shah Zafar became the overall or became the leader of the revolt of 1857. After this, we will see that he became the leader of the revolt of 1857, and he insisted, he started writing letters, or he wrote letters to other rulers, Nawabs, chiefs, or the princes of India to come forward and make a confederacy, make an alliance against the Britishers to start the revolt. Okay, so here I am providing you the basic centers where the revolt exactly took place. Okay, so students, the revolt of 1857 was restricted to the areas of north and central India. Okay, here we will see, as we have seen, the first center was Mangal Pandey, sorry, the first center was Barakpur, where Mangal Pandey started the sign of the revolt. Then Jhansi is there, where the leader was Rani Lakshmi Bai. Lucknow, the leader was Begum Hazrat Mahal. Kanpur, the leader was Nana Sahib. Bareilly, the leader was Khan Bahadur Khan. Bihar, the leader was Kunwar Singh. And Delhi, the leader was Bahadur Shah Zafar. Not only for Delhi, if someone asks you that who was the leader of India or who was the ruler of India, it was proclaimed that Bahadur Shah Zafar as the ruler of whole India. Okay, so that is why the main leader of the revolt of 1857 was Bahadur Shah Zafar. Now we will see about the Nana Sahib. We have learned in the previous part only that Nana Sahib, the son of Baji Rao Peshwa second, so Peshwa Baji Rao second, we have seen that he was discontinued to providing the pension of his father to him. We have learned about this, that Britishers were not giving him pension that was sanctioned after the death of his father, and they also took his kingdom from Nana Sahib. So that only Nana Sahib revolted against the Britishers, and his armed forces expelled the British garrison from the city. From that city, they totally threw out the garrison. They captured the garrison places where they used to keep weapons. He acknowledged the overlordship of Emperor Bahadur Shah Zafar Okay, he also accepted the rulership of Bahadur Shah Zafar, and Nana Sahib was assisted by Tatya Tope, and Azimullah Khan helped him in this revolt of 1857. Both of them are very famous. Now we will learn about Begum Hazrat Mahal. Okay, Begum Hazrat Mahal belongs to Lucknow, and she was the wife of Nawab Wajid Ali. Begum Hazrat Mahal was the wife of Nawab Wajid Ali, and after the death of Nawab Wajid Ali, his son named Birjis Qadr became the Nawab of Awadh, that is, became the Nawab of Lucknow. Okay. Now they also acknowledged the suzerainty of Bahadur Shah Zafar. That means they also accepted Bahadur Shah Zafar as the ruler of, or as the leader of revolt of 1857. Begum Hazrat Mahal took an active part in organizing the uprising against the British. That means she played an important role for uprising the revolt of it against the Britishers, and she basically supported the peasants, the sepoys, and the talukdars who were inspired for this revolt. Okay, there they used the residency was set on fire by the revolutionaries. Here the revolutionaries, that means the revolutionaries of the revolt of 1857, like the sepoys, the peasants, were set fire to the British residencies in Lucknow, and they used to there where they fired the residency of Henry Lawrence, the then British military officer. Okay, they set on fire his residency, and in this Henry Lawrence was killed or died. Okay, nextly the revolt goes to Rani Lakshmi Bai Jhansi. Rani Lakshmi Bai, as we are knowing, that one of the greatest leaders of the revolt, and we have learned stories about Rani Lakshmi Bai many times. In the previous part also I have explained you that after the death of Rani Lakshmi Bai, since they were not having their real son, she adopted a son, but Britishers were not ready to recognize his son as the ruler of Jhansi, and according to the policy of doctrine of lapse, her kingdom Jhansi was also annexed by the Britishers. Okay, So here Rani Lakshmi Bai was helped by Tatya Tope, but unfortunately Rani Lakshmi Bai was died while fighting to the Britishers. So basically this was the story of Jhansi because Rani Lakshmi Bai was died in the war or while fighting with the Britishers. Nextly we will learn about Bareilly where Khan Bahadur Khan Rohilla he proclaimed himself as the Nawab of Bareilly. Okay, and there also on 31st May he forced the Britishers to flee or to left his area or to left Bareilly. The uprising was led by Khan Bahadur Khan, a pensioner of the British government. Khan Bahadur Khan was a pensioner of the British government or a normal person who proclaimed himself or recognized himself as the ruler of Bareilly. Now, after this, we will learn about Kunwar Singh. The center was Bihar. Kunwar Singh was an old zamindar of Bihar where he led the revolt of 1857 against the Britishers. Kunwar Singh was also unfortunately died while fighting or in April 1858. So students, here we have seen about that how the revolt of 1857 was how the leaders of the revolt of 1857 in various centers indulged in fighting with the British officials or British military, but unfortunately many of them were died and many of them were imprisoned during the wars. There were some other centers where the revolt took place, that was Banaras, Allahabad, Gwalior, Nasirabad, Indore, Aligarh and Kota. So basically the revolt of 1857 was confined to central and north India. After this we will see that now suppression of the revolt goes on. Now British started planning that how they can suppress the revolt, and that only the British forces soon suppressed the revolt. Bahadur Shah II proved to be a weak leader because he was old also, and what they do so here firstly Delhi was captured by a British military leader, that was John Nicholson. John Nicholson recaptured Delhi on 20th September 1857. Okay, Bahadur Shah Zafar was arrested and he was taken to prison. His two sons were shot dead before his eyes by a British officer called Lieutenant Hodgson. Okay. After this, Bahadur Shah Zafar was deported to Rangoon, that is today it is in Myanmar, where he died in 1862. So this happened to the main leader of the revolt of 1857. The revolt was firstly suppressed in Delhi and Delhi was recaptured by the British leader, and after that Bahadur Shah Zafar was also arrested and deposed to Myanmar. His two sons were shot dead so that no can become the ruler of Mughal Empire again, and he was sent to Rangoon where he died in 1862. Nextly, we will learn about the General Havelock. General Havelock defeated the rebels in Kanpur. He played an important role in defeating the rebel at Kanpur, and basically Rani Lakshmi Bai was driven out of Jhansi. She was thrown out of Jhansi. With the help of Tatya Tope, she captured Gwalior. Okay, when she was thrown out of Jhansi, she was successful to capture the fort of Gwalior, where she was killed in June 1858. Tatya Tope was captured in 1859 and hanged. So like this only Rani Lakshmi Bai and of Jhansi and Tatya Tope was also killed by the British officials. In Kanpur, a British troop led by General Havelock defeated Nana Sahib also, who fled to Nepal and was never heard of again. So like this only the leaders of Jhansi, the leaders of Gwalior and the leader of Kanpur was also killed, or we can say that about Nana Sahib so no one is knowing. He fled to Nepal and from there we did not get any news about Nana Sahib. Okay, so basically the revolt of 1857, Hungry Henry Ross also played an important role for suppressing the revolt of 1857 in Jhansi. So basically what happened, the revolt was suppressed by 1858 to 1859. Okay, Rani Lakshmi Bai was killed and Britishers were successfully recaptured the areas of Banaras, Bareilly and Gwalior also. Okay, now hundreds of sepoys, rebels, Nawabs, Zamindars, local chiefs and even common civilians were tried and hanged by the Britishers in this revolt. Their land and assets were confiscated. The Britishers confiscate their lands of the rebels or the people those who were fighting against them in the revolt of 1857. So this uprising of localized character continued to take place, posing threat to the British authorities. This revolt was suppressed by the Britishers, but Britishers were afraid of the rising power of the Indians against the Britishers. Okay, they were totally afraid of us. So basically, the revolt of 1857 was failed, but but it was a landmark event in the history of India. It played an important role in the uprising of the War of Independence against the Britishers, and it also shook the foundations of the British rule in India. However, this revolt was unsuccessful and it was not able to achieve its objective. Okay, but we will see later that what were the reasons of the failure of the revolt of 1857. What were the major reasons for the failure of the revolt of 1857? That we will see, as from the starting only I am explaining you that this revolt of 1857 was highly localized, or we can say that confined in North and South, North India and Central India only. It did not spread all over the Indian subcontinent. As you can see, the Satara is the last one. That means up to the Narmada river, it was restricted only to North and Central India. Basically, we can say that many of the Indian rulers do not even participated in the revolt of 1857, like Scindias of Gwalior, the Holkar of Indore, the Nizams of Hyderabad, the Raja of Jodhpur, the Nawab of Bhopal, the rulers of Patiala, Sindh and Kashmir, and the Rana of Nepal provided active supports to the Britishers. Not only many Indian rulers participate in the revolt of 1857, but they were in favor, or they conspire against the Indian rulers only, and they were in the favor of the British rulers for suppressing the revolt of 1857. After that, we will see that there was a lack of the rebel lacked a common cause. That means all of them were having their own motto and own reasons for fighting the revolt. Like Nana Sahib was not allowed to get his pension, so he was rebelling against his pensions. The sepoys were rebelling against that greased cartridges. The Indian peasants were rebelling against the ruthless policies of the Britishers. So there was not a single cause. Okay, everyone was fighting for their own reasons and for their own causes. So basically, the rebel lacked a common cause. After that, we will see leadership. There was also the lack of leadership. The Bahadur Shah Zafar was a weak and old leader. He was not able to lead the revolt properly, and the leaders of the revolt had no collective agenda and strategies. They were not having one agenda, one cause, and they were also not having a proper strategy of fighting the revolt. They mostly thought of their own interests and personal gains. After this, we will see that basically the emerging middle class were also not in favor of the revolt of 1857, because they believed that the only British could take India into modern age. There were some sections also in the Indian society, those who believed that the Britishers can only bring modern age to India. They did not support the rural and the feudal elements who played the most significant part in the uprising. That means basically we have learned that this revolt was only led by the people, those who were oppressed by the Britishers, those who were, we can say that, totally annoyed by the Britishers' policies of the Britishers in India. One more thing was there, many of the Indian rulers and chiefs sided the British during the revolt. They conspired against the Indian rulers, and they used to share the information with the Britishers. That gives a great help to the Britishers for fighting against the Indian rulers. We will also see that the weapons of the Indian sepoys, or the weapons of the Indian rulers, were very outdated. Okay, and the machineries, or we can say that the technologies and the weaponry of the British soldiers were highly advanced. That was also the reason for the failure of the revolt of 1857. Since the revolt was not planned, it sparked the fire of discontent among the sepoys, basically. So that was not a plan. Like, people used to gather their weapons, technologies, learn about the technologies and plan that how they are going to execute the battle. But it was not like that. It was an unplanned revolt against the Britishers. That was also the cause of the failure of the revolt of 1857. We will also see, since the Britishers had better resource and succeeded in suppressing the revolt, and the Britishers were advanced and they were having modern resources for fighting this battle. That is why they were succeeded in suppressing the revolt of 1857. Okay, so these all were the reasons for the failure of the revolt of 1857. First of all, this revolt was not planned, and this revolt was only confined to the central and north India. It was not, we can say that it was not started in whole Indian subcontinent. Basically, the people, those who were suppressed by the Britishers, they only participated in the revolt of 1857. The middle class or the middle emerging class of the Indian society were not in favor of this revolt. Many Indian leaders or many Indian rulers or princes were sided the Britishers, and they conspire against the Indian rulers only. So okay, we were not having the modern technologies and weapons. That was also the reason for the failure of revolt of 1857. And the a visionary leadership and a one common goal, that was also the reason of the failure of the revolt of 1857. Okay, so all these were the revolt fail reasons for the failure of the revolt. Now we will see that what were the changes that were made by the Britishers after the revolt of 1857. The suppression of the revolt of 1857 was followed by some important changes in the structure, composition, and character of British administrative system and practices. Until here, we have learned that I have explained you that, let's revise from the starting only, that after the death of Aurangzeb in 1707, Britishers at that time, Britishers were doing trade in India, and from 1707 till 1757 they were struggling for establishing their power in India. Okay, after the Battle of Plassey in 1757 and after the Battle of Buxar in 1764, Britishers become, or we can say that the English East India Company become a power from a trading company. Okay, so basically till now, who was ruling on us? English East India Company was ruling on us on behalf of the British government. But now we will see that many administrative and the policies of Britishers change in India, because the British crown or the British parliament thought that English East India Company is not able to rule India properly. That is why they introduced some of the changes in the Indian policies, that how they are going to rule India again. So for that, Queen's proclamation was signed in August 1858. Okay, Queen proclamation, I will explain you what was that. So basically, the right of a ruler to adopt a child in the absence of a natural heir was accepted. They accepted that now a ruler can adopt a child in the absence of natural heir. Okay, Britishers accepted these things. Ki now no Indian territory would be annexed by the Britishers. Okay, now we will see that the British Parliament introduced an Act of Better Government of India in August 1858. This act was also known as Government of India Act of 1858. Okay, according to this Act of Government of India, the British Parliament introduced the, you can see it was also known as the Government of India Act 1858. Please remember, it is also known as Queen's Proclamation, because there was so many things going on in India at that time. Like English, they were Britishers were saying that now English East India Company will not rule you, now the British Parliament will rule you. So when all these things were going on in India, the people of India were very confused. For that only, the leader, that means at that time Lord Canning was the Governor General of India. He called basically the leaders, the zamindars, the princes, the rulers, to explain the Government of India Act, and that explanation is only known as Queen's Proclamation in August 1858. Since he explained that act to the people of India, that is why it is known as announce kiya usne. That is why it is known as Queen's Proclamation. Okay, so we will see the what was Government of India Act 1858. The Government of India Act of 1858 totally disqualified, or we can say that abolished, the rule of East India Company in India. That means now East India Company is not going to rule India. What will happen if East India Company will not rule? So we will see that now the power of or the rule of English East India Company formally came to an end. Now the power of EEIC came to an end, and all the powers relating to the governance of Indian subcontinent were transferred to the British Crown. Now the British Crown directly rule on India. On January 1, 1877, Queen Victoria was proclaimed as the Empress of India. Okay, now we started, then Britishers started monarchy in India. Queen Victoria became the Empress of India, and she will rule, or India will be ruled under the Queen. She will sit in Britain and she will rule on us. For that only it is not possible to rule India from Britain. That is why the British Parliament sent some officials to India, that we will learn. The Pitt's India Act also came to India during 1784 only. According to this Pitt's India Act, the Britishers introduced dual government in India, and according to dual government there will be two systems. Okay, the first one was Board of Control and the next one was Court of Director. The Board of Control was responsible for political affairs, for managing political affairs in India, and Court of Directors were responsible for managing commercial affairs in India. Okay, according to this act, yeah, that means when Government of India introduced in India, this abolished the Court of Director and Board of Control. Okay, this act of 1858 abolished the Board of Directors and the Board of Control. Now, there was a provision that a member of the British cabinet, as you can see, the member of a British cabinet was appointed and made responsible for the administration of India. You can see Lord Stanley, one member will be appointed from the cabinet of British Parliament as the Secretary of State, and he will only be responsible, or he will rule on India from Britain. Okay, the Secretary of State was made responsible by Queen Victoria for controlling the governance of India from Britain. And from here, dual government was stopped. That means Court of Director और Board of Control की position हटा दी गई और एक Secretary of State बनाया गया जो कैबिनेट मिनिस्टर होगा कहाँ का, ब्रिटिश पार्लियामेंट का. उस टाइम पे जो सेक्रेटरी ऑफ स्टेट बनाया गया, हिज नेम वाज लॉर्ड स्टैनले. After that, we will see the next one. Lord Stanley, why he was made the Secretary of State for ruling or for governing the governance of India. He will be helped by 15 members of advisory body. That means one council was also made to help him, and that council was named as India Council, that will help Lord Stanley, or that will help the Secretary of State for help in administration of the country. After that, we will see, now we will see that since it was not possible for the Secretary of State to rule from Britain over India. That is why one new post was came into existence, that was the post of Viceroy. Now in India, as we have learned about, there were Governor Generals also. Now two posts or two head in India, two head were responsible for managing the governance of British or governance of India. So basically now Viceroy and Governor General both are there. There were two names, but one person was only leading this responsibility. Later on, the post of Governor General was ultimately changed to Viceroy, and now the people, those who were knowing as Governor Generals, now became the Viceroy of India. And from here only, the post of Viceroy started in India. When Viceroy was introduced in India, at that time Lord Canning was the Governor General of India. That means the last Governor General of India when Britishers were ruling, that was Lord Canning only, and he was also the first Viceroy of India. So all these were the basic changes that were introduced. After this, we will see the reorganization of the army. Since Britishers have faced one revolt by the Indians, they were knowing that they know it well that the Indians can revolt again against the Britishers. Okay, for avoiding such kind of revolts in future, the Britishers reorganized their army. And now what they did, or how they reorganized their army, the number of British soldiers was increased. That means more number of British soldiers will be there in the army, and all the higher posts and key positions were filled up by the British. Okay, and now there will be very less number of Indian soldiers recruited to the British army, and high post or the responsible positions will only be filled by the Britishers. They introduced some more changes. The right of a ruler to adopt a child in the absence of natural hire was accepted. That means now they started recognizing the existence of Indian rulers also, and they said that now in future not no Indian territory will be annexed by the Britishers. Okay, but every Indian ruler has to rule under the leadership or under the supreme authority of Queen Victoria. After this, we are going to see that more respect to the customs and religious practices of India. Okay, they gave more cuts. They think that there is no need to change the social reforms. There no need to introduce social reforms in India, because we have to gain the heart of the orthodox people of India. Okay, so they left all the social reforms in India, and they started favoring the orthodox only, so that orthodox could be in their favor. Orthodox मतलब जो किसी भी नई चीज को लेने के लिए तैयार नहीं होते हैं, those who are not going to change. Basically, India, this revolt of 1857 inspired Indians for nationalist movement also. Okay, now Indians started thinking that how they can remove or how they can just throw the Britishers from India. That is why it is also known as the First War of Independence. Okay, this revolt of 1857 blazed the trail for rise of the nationalist movement, about which we are going to learn in the later chapters. So I hope this chapter is clear to you. We have learned about various causes of the revolt of 1857. We have learned about the immediate cause of the revolt of 1857. We have seen the course and the spread of revolt, that how the revolt of 1857 spread different centers. We have learned about the major leaders of the revolt of 1857 at various centers like Rani Lakshmi Bai of Jhansi, Tatya Tope of Gwalior, Nana Sahib of Kanpur. All these we have learned. We have also learned that what were the reasons for the failure of the revolt of 1857, and we have also seen that what were the changes that were introduced by the Britishers in India. We have seen that after the revolt of 1857, Britishers introduced Government of India Act of 1858. Okay, from here the rule of English East India Company ended over India, and now the British crown directly started ruling over India. Okay, for that only they appointed secretary of the state. That secretary of the state will be, we can say that, assist by a body of 15 members. That body is was known as Council of India. Now this is like Secretary of State. Secretary of State will rule India from Britain only, but it was not possible that a person can rule from Britain in India. That is why there was one more post introduced, that was the post of Viceroy. Earlier, Viceroy and Governor General of India, both the posts were dealing by one person. Later on, these both the posts were assimilated, and only one post was recognized, that was the Viceroy. Lord Canning was the last Governor General of India, or we can say that of the British India, and he was also the first Viceroy of British India. Okay, we will see that. We have also seen that now they started giving little bit respect to the Indian rulers, so that they do not rebel against them again. We will also see that they started giving more respect to Indian customs and religious practices. But as we have learned that yes, this revolt was unsuccessful, but after that also we Indians, or this revolt, gave rise to the Indian nationalist movement. Now, after this chapter, we are going to learn about various types of revolts, various types of oppression against the Britishers by the Indian people. Okay, so this chapter is finished here. I hope all of you will watch the video, fill the book exercise, and read the book properly. Okay, Thank you, students.